For their entire lives, Navarre's dragon riders are basically taught that, their bonded dragons are the ultimate arbiters of truth and honor.
Right.
They are the unquestioned defenders of the realm. But consider this. What happens when you suddenly realize that the sacred history those dragons are supposedly defending was, well, entirely fabricated by the people holding the pens?
I mean, you realize that the real war isn't happening on a battlefield at all. It's happening in the archives, in the battle briefings,
Dang.
and in the intentional omission of truth.
Exactly. So welcome to today's deep dive. We are plunging headfirst into chapters 21 through 30 of Rebecca Yarros' Fourth Wing. And I'm so excited because up until now, our mission alongside Violet has been strictly about surviving the brutal physical reality of being a first-year cadet.
Oh, 100%. It's been pure survival mode.
Right, but the structural pivot in this 10-chapter stretch is just staggering. We are stepping out of the deadly school drama and into a literal theater of ideological warfare.
The stakes just escalate entirely. I mean, from personal survival to the very real beginnings of a continental war. And to understand the gravity of this shift, we really have to examine the immediate psychological fallout of where we left off.
Right, chapter 20.
Yeah, Violet is standing in the literal ashes of a brutal execution. Wing leader Amber Mavis was just incinerated by Violet's dragon, Tairn, for orchestrating an assassination attempt on Violet.
Which is wild, and that execution, it fundamentally shatters the trust structures Violet has relied on her entire life. And we see this most clearly in how it fractures her dynamic with Dain.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Dain's insistence on using his signet to physically read Violet's memories before believing her about Amber isn't just a lapse in judgment, it's a complete outsourcing of his moral compass to the Codex.
Yeah, that is the absolute core of Dain's tragedy right there. I mean, we shouldn't view his rigid adherence to the Codex, the rule book of the Riders Quadrant, simply as him being a stickler for the rules.
Right, it's deeper than that.
Way deeper. It is a profound psychological defense mechanism. Dain operates in an environment where death is a daily sanctioned occurrence. To survive that mental toll, he uses the rules as a shield.
If the rules are perfect, then the system is just.
Exactly. But believing Violet's word over a superior officer without magical proof, that requires him to acknowledge that the system itself might be corrupted.
And he just can't do it. He lacks the fundamental faith required to see her as an autonomous, credible writer. He wants to force her back into that fragile scribe box because, honestly, it's the only way he knows how to keep her safe.
Yeah.
But I want to push back on the alternative here because the contrast obviously is exact.
Right.
Okay, let's unpack this. It's Dain is the overprotective parent who wants to lock you in a padded room for your own safety, while Xaden is the intense driving instructor who throws you the keys to a sports car but insists on riding shotgun.
That's actually a great analogy.
Thanks. But Xaden's response to the constant threats against Violet is to assign Liam Mary as her permanent bodyguard. And considering Xaden's life is literally tethered to Violet's through their mated dragons, isn't Zadie's brand of protection inherently selfish? He's basically guarding his own life insurance policy.
Well, you could absolutely argue that Xaden's operating from a place of pure self-preservation because, Tairn and Sgaeyl are a mated dragon pair. Their lives are inexorably linked.
Right. If one dies, they all die.
Exactly. If Violet falls, Tairn dies, Sgaeyl dies, and Xaden dies. So yes, keeping Violet alive is a matter of his own survival. However, the morality of his approach is entirely different from Dain's.
How so?
Well, Dain attempts to shelter Violet by controlling her environment and limiting her potential. Xaden acknowledges the terrifying reality of their world and chooses to arm her.
So he hands her the keys to the sports car and insists she learn how to drift.
In a sense, yeah. I mean, he gives her a custom hand-carved Tirish blade.
Yeah.
He spars with her on the mat, using his shadow-wielding powers to take her down relentlessly.
He does not go easy on her.
Not at all. He operates under the pragmatic philosophy that the world will never offer her a level playing field, so she must become lethal with the tools she possesses. He isn't protecting her by keeping her weak. He's protecting her by forcing her to become strong.
And that pragmatic philosophy backfires on Xaden in the most fascinating way. Because by assigning Liam as Violet's shadow, Xaden inadvertently gives Violet the one thing that will ultimately unravel her unquestioning loyalty to Navarre.
A genuine human connection to the rebellion.
Yes. Liam Mary. Let's do a character analysis here, because Liam is the narrative bridge that crosses the divide between the elite Navarian establishment and the subjugated marked children.
He really is.
Instead of just looking at his tragic backstory, being the son of a disgraced and executed Tirish rebel, separated from his sister Sloane, forced into the Riders Quadrant as punishment, let's look at how he weaponizes his disposition.
Oh, I love this take.
Liam is remarkably courteous. He whittles little wooden figurines. He's so warm and deeply loyal.
And his kindness is actually a profound form of rebellion.
Wait, really? Say more about that.
Yeah, think about it. The Navarian leadership conscripted these 107 marked children with the explicit expectation that the dragons would incinerate them.
Right.
They were sent to Basgiath to die as monsters, carrying the sins of their parents. By refusing to become hardened, cruel, or resentful, Liam is actively resisting the narrative Navarre has written for him.
Oh, wow. That is such a good point. And there is a brilliant Easter egg from the source material regarding this.
Oh, about his dragon.
Yeah. Liam's bonded dragon is a red daggertail named Day. And in Scottish Gaelic, Day translates to ice.
That's right.
You have this fierce, icy, lethal beast bonded to a rider whose primary defense mechanism is unwavering warmth. It completely short-circuits Violet's preconceived notions.
It does. Through Liam, the marked ones cease to be a theoretical thread in a textbook and become, humanized casualties of a ruthless state.
He drops the horrifying truth about their conscription so casually.
He really does. And that forces a crack in the foundation of Violet's worldview. She has to start questioning the history she was taught her entire life as a scribe.
And that crack turns into a massive fissure when Violet and Liam are doing library duty in the archives. They discover a dropped scroll meant only for the leadership.
Right, detailing an attack on a high-altitude village called Somerton.
Exactly. Supplies were looted, lives were disrupted, and yet this event is completely omitted from the cadets' battle briefings. Like, it never happened.
Which brings us back to the weaponization of history. The leadership is curating reality.
Yeah.
By keeping the cadets in the dark about where and how the attacks are happening, they're ensuring the riders remain blunt instruments of the state, rather than strategic thinkers who might question the broader geometry of the war.
Which fuels Violet right into the squad battle in Chapter 25. The objective is to acquire something highly advantageous to their enemies regarding the war effort.
Right.
Violet realizes that the most dangerous weapon in this war isn't a sword or a dragon, it's information. So she orchestrates this brilliantly reckless heist to steal an up-to-date war map directly from her own mother's office.
The heist represents a critical evolution for Violet.
Yeah.
She is no longer just fighting for physical survival on the parapet or the mat. She is engaging in intellectual rebellion against her mother, the commanding general.
And winning that challenge earns their squad a trip to the Montserrat outpost, where we get a reunion that functions as a massive wake-up call. Violet reunites with her older sister, Mira.
Such a great scene.
It's so good, because Mira is an established, formidable rider. But instead of coddling Violet, Mira pulls Dane, Xaden, and Violet into a room and absolutely eviscerates the two men for hovering.
She snaps at both of them. And it's so important because Mira recognizes a very specific danger that Violet herself has become blind to.
What's that?
Violet is struggling to keep her seat on Tairn during flight. Her signet power has not manifested yet, and honestly, she's becoming a passenger in her own life.
Oh, that's so...
She is outsourcing her physical safety to Xaden and her emotional validation to Dane.
And Mira tells her point blank that her power belongs solely to her. It is such a vital intervention. Violet has to find her own autonomy, or she will die when those safety nets inevitably fail.
And the pacing of the narrative drastically accelerates the moment Mira delivers that warning.
Like, immediately.
Yeah. The theoretical discussions of war instantly become a physical reality when a drift of griffins attacks the Montserrat outpost. Violet wants to stay and fight alongside her sister, but Xaden forces her to leave, swooping her into the sky on Tairn.
The external conflict of the Continental War crashes directly into the internal conflict of Violet's training. And, okay, before we get to the climax of how that internal conflict resolves, we need to debate a structural choice Yarros makes right here.
The bonus chapter.
Yes. In Chapter 27, we get a bonus chapter told entirely from Xaden's point of view during this griffin attack.
Right.
Now, some readers argue that giving us Xaden's internal monologue this early ruins his mysterious, untouchable aura. Should it have been added?
Well, it is a valid critique, as suspense relies on the unknown. But, analytically, adding his perspective is essential because it reframes the theme of perception versus reality.
Okay, break that down for me.
In Violet's point of view, she is terrified.
Mm.
But observing Xaden as this cold, calculating, flawless commander in the sky, she perceives him as entirely in control.
But when you read Xaden's actual internal monologue, the guy is completely unraveling.
He really is.
He's in a state of utter panic over Violet's safety. He is just so incredibly down bad for her, and he literally can't focus on the battle.
It's hilarious.
Even better, his dragon, Sgaeyl, is literally mocking him in his own head for losing his composure over a first-year cadet. She's making fun of him.
Yeah, it highlights the vulnerability of the dragon bond, for sure. But it also humanizes Xaden. It proves that the invincible persona he projects to the Quadrant is just as fabricated as the history the scribes are writing. He is terrified of his own emotional compromise.
And that emotional compromise becomes a two-way street when we hit the war games. Fourth Wing has to defend their flag against First Wing, and the chaos is absolute.
Pure chaos.
Jack Barlow, who has been a looming psychotic threat since day one, targets Liam. Liam's dragon is grounded, Liam is falling, and in a moment of pure, desperate instinct, Violet taps into Andarna.
Right, and we have to remember the mechanics of this. Andarna is a juvenile feather-tailed dragon.
A subbreed, supposedly.
Supposedly. The rest of the college believes she is simply a subbreed, completely unaware that juvenile dragons possess unique, untampered magic that they can gift to a rider directly, separate from the channeled signets of adult dragons.
Andarna's gift allows Violet to freeze time. She pauses the battle just long enough to pull Liam out of the air, but she can't hold the freeze forever. When time snaps back into motion, Violet is consumed by a raw, unadulterated need to protect her squad and eliminate Jack Barlow.
That extreme surge of emotion finally cracks the dam. Her adult signet, channeled from Tairn, manifests.
She becomes a lightning wielder. She calls down a strike, incinerates Jack, and saves Liam. It is a cinematic triumph, but man, the psychological aftermath is incredibly heavy.
Let's analyze that transition because it's massive.
Sure.
For her entire life, Violet was trained to be a scribe. The philosophy of a scribe is preservation, preserving history, preserving knowledge, preserving life. By calling down lightning to kill a classmate, she enacts the ultimate form of destruction.
And lightning isn't precise. It isn't a scalpel. It is chaotic, untamable power.
Exactly. The manifestation of lightning represents the complete death of her former identity. She can never go back to being the girl in the archives. She is deeply traumatized by taking a human life, but Karazhan is there to anchor her.
He is.
And he doesn't offer hollow platitudes. He validates the necessity of her violence. He reminds her that surviving in this reality requires a willingness to destroy those who would destroy you.
He sees the darkest, most destructive part of her, and he just embraces it. Which leads us to the climax of Chapter 30, where the emotional tension finally shatters.
It really does.
Violet and Xaden finally sleep together, and because their magic is so intrinsically tied to their adrenaline and emotion, it physically manifests in the room.
It's a great scene.
Shadows are swirling, and Violet's lightning is literally sparking off her skin to the point where she sets the bed curtains on fire.
It is a vivid demonstration of untethered power. But, the true intimacy of that scene is found in the physical vulnerability Xaden allows.
Oh, the scars.
Yes. This is the moment he reveals the origin of the 107 silver scars lining his back.
When he explained those scars, it completely recontextualized his entire existence at the college for me.
We must consider the true cost of Xaden's leadership here. Those 107 scars are not battle wounds. They are a ledger.
Yeah.
Following the failed Tirish rebellion, the Navarian leadership intended to execute all the children of the rebel leaders. Xaden made a bargain with the commanding generals. He took personal responsibility for every single marked child. He endured a lash for each of them.
He literally bears the physical mark of their survival on his own spine.
And the terms of that bargain dictate that if any single one of those 107 children betrays Navarre, Xaden's life is forfeit.
Which is insane.
He carries an impossible, crushing burden. He isn't just an angry rebel playing a dangerous game. He is a hostage, acting as a human shield for an entire generation of orphans.
And Violet, seeing those scars and truly understanding the magnitude of his sacrifice, it cements her love for him.
It really does.
Think about the journey we've just analyzed for you. In a span of 10 chapters, Violet transforms from a fragile cadet hiding behind Dane's rulebook into a lightning-wielding warrior who steals military secrets and is deeply romantically entangled with the leader of the Marked Ones.
She has completely shed the identity Navarre assigned to her and begun to forge her own reality.
But the reality of the world around her is about to fracture even further. As Violet builds her own truth, the foundational truths of Navarre are exposed as lies.
Yeah, and I want to leave you pondering a tiny but explosive detail that surfaces right after this sequence in chapter 31.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Violet is looking through her book of fables, the book her sister Mira explicitly told her to keep hidden, and a cryptic note from her late father falls out.
Her father, who was the head scribe of the entire college.
Right, and the note reads, "It only takes one desperate generation to change history, even erase it."
Chills.
It is a chilling confirmation of everything Violet has begun to suspect. The omitted attacks in the battle briefings, the stolen map, the way the scribes actively suppress information. Consider the Venin, the supposedly mythical dark magic users who drain power from the earth. The scribes have relegated them to mere folk tales to frighten children.
But if a head scribe is leaving a secret note warning his daughter about the erasure of history, I mean, it implies the folk tales are real.
It raises the most terrifying question of the series so far. If the scribes are intentionally hiding the existence of dark magic and sending dragon riders out to die in border skirmishes while burying the true nature of the enemy, are the historians actually the greatest villains in Navarre?
Man, if the people tasked with preserving the truth are the very ones actively destroying it, there is no one left to trust. It completely rewrites the rules of engagement.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this custom deep dive. We really encourage you to keep questioning the narrative, looking for the cracks in the foundation as you continue your reading journey. Because Violet thought she was finally learning to navigate the perilous cliffs of Basgiath, but she's just realizing that the real danger isn't falling, it's the people who built the clay in the first place. Until next time. For their entire life.